My name is Ava Montgomery, and the night my life collapsed didn't begin with screaming. It began with a birthday candle. People always say your life flashes before your eyes in moments of disaster. Mine didn't. Instead, as the soft glow of 33 candles flickered across the crystal walls of the Marlowe Room, one of New York's most expensive restaurants, all I saw was the reflection of a woman I barely recognized, a woman who thought she was loved, a woman who believed her family was unshakable. If only she knew what was about to happen. Guests clapped, glasses clinked. My best friend, Chloe Reyes, nudged my arm and whispered, "Make a wish, birthday girl." She said it with that teasing confidence she'd had since we were kids. I smiled back, but something in my chest felt off, a quiet tension humming beneath my ribs. I should have listened to that feeling. Because 15 seconds later, my world detonated. A slow, attention-seeking cough sounded at the other end of the table. My younger sister, Sienna, stood up, placing a dramatic hand on her stomach, a movement so practiced it belonged in a Broadway script. Her ruby-red dress hugged her like a warning sign as she smiled sweetly at the room. "I know tonight is Ava's birthday," she began, brushing her long copper hair behind her shoulder as if she needed the spotlight to hit just right. "But I have an announcement." My heart froze. Sienna thrived on attention, but tonight, something was different. My husband, Liam Carter, a man whose face graced tech mag covers and billionaire lists, stood up beside her. And when he placed his hand on her stomach, the candle wax on my cake stopped dripping. Conversations died mid-sentence. Chloe's fork slipped from her hand and clattered onto her plate. Sienna beamed, a villain's smile wrapped in an angel's face. "Ava," she said softly, almost tenderly, "you're going to be an aunt." It felt like the floor tilted. Somewhere, someone gasped. Across the table, Liam's jaw tightened with something that looked disturbingly like pride. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't fall apart like they expected. Instead, something inside me quietly snapped. A thin, invisible wire that had held me together for far too long. And in the silence that followed their betrayal, I realized something powerful. They thought they were in control. They thought I would shatter. But they had no idea. I wasn't the victim of this story. I was the ending they never saw coming. I smiled slowly, a smile that made Sienna's confidence falter. I blew out the candles with steady breath, and in that moment, I made a wish. Not for happiness, not for healing, but for truth. The truth that would burn everything they'd built to the ground. Tonight wasn't the night I lost everything. It was the night I began rewriting my life, one secret at a time. After the dinner, people like to imagine I drove home in tears, mascara running, heart broken open like a cracked window. But the truth? The night everything fell apart didn't start at that restaurant. It began 6 weeks earlier with an email that wasn't meant for me. It was a Tuesday, painfully ordinary, the kind that should have slipped through memory unnoticed. I'd gotten home early from the hospital where I worked as a trauma nurse. I remember humming, tossing my coat on the couch, thinking about leftovers in the fridge. I remember feeling safe. God, how naive. I picked up our shared family iPad to look up a recipe. As soon as I opened it, a notification appeared at the top of the screen. New email. From Sienna Reed. Subject, our plan. I froze. Not the plan, not the appointment, not call me. Our plan. 2 words that didn't belong to siblings. 2 words that didn't belong anywhere near my husband's inbox. My hands trembled, not because I was afraid of the truth, but because I already knew it. Women always know long before they admit it. I tapped the notification, and what I read didn't break me. It annihilated me. Sienna's message spilled open lines of confident betrayal. Will announce at her birthday dinner. She'll be humiliated, emotional. She won't fight the divorce. Liam says the settlement will be easy if she's distraught. Once she's out of the way, everything is ours. Every word felt like a shard of glass sliding under my ribs. I didn't make a sound. Not a sob, not a scream. Instead, I covered my mouth with both hands and sank to the tiled floor of my kitchen, my back hitting the cabinet with a soft thud. My marriage, 10 years of loyalty, 10 years of believing in a man who kissed my forehead each morning, had been nothing but a slow, strategic robbery. But there was something else. Something that turned my stomach to stone. At the bottom of the email, written almost casually, like discussing a brunch reservation, the baby announcement will push her over the edge. This is the perfect moment. My vision blurred. The edges of the screen went dark. I don't remember breathing, but I do remember the one sentence that cut deepest of all. Ava never fights back. A statement, a belief, a prediction. Something inside me shifted, not an emotional crack, but a structural one, like a building foundation suddenly deciding, not anymore. I got up slowly, wiped my face, locked the bathroom door, and stared at myself in the mirror, a woman who had been quiet her whole life, obedient her whole life, forgiving her whole life. But the woman staring back wasn't quiet now. She wasn't obedient. She wasn't forgiving. I whispered to my reflection, "You picked the wrong woman not to fear." That was the night my grief transformed into strategy. It was the night kindness died and clarity was born. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of heartbreak, that part of me had gone strangely numb, but because of something heavier, something sharper. Suspicion. If Sienna and Liam could lie so boldly, so confidently, what else were they hiding? The next morning, I sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing yesterday's sweater, staring at the iPad like it was a crime scene. And maybe it was. Maybe my marriage had been a crime from the beginning. With a breath that felt too steady for what I was about to do, I searched through more emails. And that's when I found his report. A medical document, a scanned PDF, a diagnosis that should have shattered him, not me. Azoospermia. Sterile. Liam Carter, billionaire tech genius, Forbes cover, polished smile, self-proclaimed family man, was incapable of fathering a child. I blinked. I reread it. My blood went cold. Sienna's pregnancy, Liam's pride, their theatrics? None of it made sense. Unless the father wasn't him. Unless the lie went deeper. I sat there, stunned, the room spinning with every realization slamming into me like a wave. But even then, I forced myself to breathe. Slow, controlled. Because the truth wasn't done with me yet. The report said Northfield Reproductive Clinic, a specialist, an expensive one, and I remembered something. Months ago, Liam claiming he had paid thousands for tests and private consultations. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my laptop and opened our joint bank statements. Line by line, transaction by transaction, I searched. He hadn't spent a cent at that clinic. Not one. But there was a $25,000 cash withdrawal. Unaccounted for, unexplained, unmistakable. The nausea hit so fast I had to grip the table. It wasn't just cheating. It wasn't just betrayal. It was deception on a level that felt orchestrated. Every lie was connected to another lie. Every missing dollar pointed towards something larger. And suddenly, a memory flashed. A conversation months earlier when he snapped at me for asking about a business trip, something that felt off, but I let slide. My throat tightened. What else had I ignored? What else had he counted on me not noticing? A sickening truth began forming, heavy and undeniable. They weren't just betraying me. They were planning a future without me. Funded by me. I felt the air leave my lungs in a slow, eerie calm. If they wanted war, they were going to get it. But not the kind they expected. I stood up, found my phone, dialed a number I never thought I'd need. My best friend picked up instantly. "Ava!" Chloe's voice was wrapped in worry. "What's wrong?" I swallowed the last of who I used to be. "It's happening," I said quietly, "and I need your help." She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Where do I meet you?" And for the first time since opening that email, I felt less alone, less broken, more dangerous. Chloe arrived at my apartment 20 minutes after we hung up. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, wearing an oversized NYU hoodie that had seen better years. But to me, she looked like a lifeline. She stepped inside, took one look at my face, and didn't ask a single question. Instead, she wrapped her arms around me the way she always had when we were kids, and life felt too big. But this time, I didn't melt into her. I stood stiff, hollow, ice where warmth should have been. She pulled back, frowning. "Eva, you look like you're planning a murder." I exhaled. "Close enough." We sat at my kitchen table, the iPad between us, like evidence in a trial. I turned it toward her, showing her the email. She read silently at first, her expression going from confusion to disbelief to a fury so sharp it could have cut the air. "Oh, hell no," she muttered. "Oh, absolutely not. This is... no. No." Then louder, "Your sister? Your actual sister and Liam? That walking LinkedIn headshot?" I almost laughed. Almost. But the sound died before it reached my throat. "There's more," I whispered. I opened another file, the medical report. Chloe's jaw dropped. "He's sterile?" "Completely." She blinked. "But Sienna..." "Exactly." A silence settled between us, heavy, electric, dangerous. Then Chloe leaned back slowly, her gaze suddenly sharp. "This wasn't two idiots making bad choices," she said quietly. "This was planned. Months in advance." I nodded. "Maybe longer." She drummed her fingers on the table. "So now what?" What now? Those words echoed in my chest like a challenge. I opened my laptop and turned it to her. I checked our accounts. The clinic payments Liam claimed, they never happened. Chloe frowned. "Then where did the money go?" I pointed at the screen. "Here, 25,000, cash, vanished." Chloe's eyes widened. "You think he used it to..." "I don't know. But I'm going to find out." And just like that, the decision was made. We found an online listing for a private investigator with a reputation for being discreet, the kind of man who could find things people paid to bury. His name was Elias Grant, a retired detective who now worked out of a tiny office above a laundromat in Brooklyn. We drove straight there. The office smelled like old books and stronger coffee. Elias looked up when we entered, his gray hair wild, glasses perched on the tip of his nose. He had the face of someone who'd seen humanity at its worst and stopped being surprised by it. He asked, "What can I help you with?" I didn't hesitate. I placed the iPad and the printouts on his desk. I said, "My husband and my sister are having an affair, but I don't need proof of that. I need you to follow the money." He studied me with unreadable eyes. "You don't want to catch them?" "No," I said. "I want to expose them." He nodded once, like a judge delivering a sentence. "It'll take time." I met his gaze. "I'm not going anywhere." But deep down, we both knew, by the time he finished his investigation, nothing in my life would be left standing.
The days after hiring Elias were some of the longest of my life. You would think the waiting would break me. It didn't. Instead, it sharpened me. Every morning I woke up, went to work, smiled at patients, stitched wounds, soothed families, while inside a quiet hurricane spun tighter and tighter. Chloe checked on me constantly, half convinced I was one wrong breath from collapsing. But collapse? No. I'd done enough of that in my life. Now I was calculating. Every text from Liam made my skin crawl. "Late meeting tonight. Don't wait up. We should talk this weekend." Talk. God, the audacity. But I played my part flawlessly. Polite, agreeable, predictable. The same Ava he thought he'd written into submission. I didn't confront him. I didn't accuse him. I didn't even look hurt. Because I needed him to stay confident. I needed him unaware. Betrayal didn't destroy me. It educated me. And with every passing day, my resolve hardened. Then 2 weeks later, Elias called. "Ms. Montgomery," he said. His tone told me everything before the words even came. "You'll want to come in." My pulse kicked. "It's bad?" A long pause. "It's worse." Chloe drove me because she didn't trust me behind the wheel, and honestly, maybe she was right. My hands were shaking too hard to grip anything. When we got to Elias's office, he didn't offer coffee. He didn't waste time. He simply slid a thick folder across the desk. "This is everything," he said. I opened it, and the world as I knew it ended again. The $25,000 withdrawal, not random, not lost. It was the first of many payments Liam made to Sienna, disguised through a shell account, the kind of financial trail only someone arrogant or careless could leave. There were transfer receipts, screenshots, bank statements. He paid her rent. He paid her car note. He bought her jewelry, vacations, designer handbags. I felt my stomach twist. "And this," he added softly, tapping the final page, "is the largest transaction. A $175,000 wire transfer from Liam's corporate expense account into a title company." "Corporate?" I repeated, stunned. Elias nodded. "Yes, which means it wasn't his money. It was his company's." The title company. It led to a house. A brand new home in upstate New York. The deed? Not in Liam's name. Not in Sienna's. But in my mother's. My breath left me in a slow, sickening exhale. "My mother?" I whispered, not believing the words. Elias nodded once. Sympathetic, but firm. "I'm afraid so. Your husband, your sister, and your mother have been working together, financially, secretly, for months." The room felt like it shrank around me, crushing in from all sides. My mother, the woman who raised me, the woman who always told me to be the bigger person, to keep the peace. She wasn't keeping peace. She was keeping score. And suddenly, everything made sense. The coldness, the favoritism, the unspoken hierarchy of our family. I wasn't the daughter she invested in. I was the daughter she expected to endure. Elias leaned forward gently. "Ms. Montgomery, this wasn't an affair." He paused, letting the truth land with devastating precision. This was a conspiracy. I closed the folder, and in that moment, in that tiny Brooklyn office with dust floating through the sunlight, something inside me solidified forever. They hadn't just planned to betray me, they planned to replace me. And now I was planning something too.
I left Elias's office with the folder clutched in my hands so tightly the edges dug into my palms. It didn't matter. Pain was irrelevant compared to the fire burning inside me. Chloe walked beside me in silence for half a block before she finally spoke. "Ava, what are you going to do?" A simple question. A loaded question. And yet the answer came as easily as breathing. "I'm going to end them," I said quietly. "All three of them. Not with violence, not with screaming, not with the chaos they expected from someone they thought was weak. No, I would end them the way they tried to end me. Strategically, surgically, publicly." Chloe didn't flinch. She just exhaled. "Then I'm with you." Back at my apartment, I spread everything out across my dining table. The PI's documents, the medical report, the emails, the bank statements, the title transfers. It looked like a crime board in a detective show, except the villain wasn't some unknown shadow lurking in an alley. It was my family. Every piece of paper was a truth they thought I'd never find. Evidence of their arrogance, evidence of their certainty that I would stay silent. But silence was a gift I was done giving. My hands steadied as I sorted through the papers, creating piles. Financial fraud, medical lie, pregnancy timeline, property theft, collusion. Every category was a thread, and pulling one would unravel all of them. I realized something while I worked. Something important, something powerful. They had planned my destruction, but they had built their entire plan on one fatal miscalculation. They believed I was predictable. They believed I was soft. They believed I was incapable of revenge. But grief had changed me. Betrayal had refined me. And truth had freed me. I made my first move 3 days later. The setting, the Marlowe Room, the most prestigious, most elegant restaurant in the city. The place Liam always bragged about, but rarely booked. It was perfect. Expensive, elegant, crowded. A stage without a stage. My birthday dinner reservation still stood, and ironically, Liam insisted we keep it. He thought it would distract me from the growing emotional distance between us. He thought the facade still worked. He had no idea he was walking into his own execution. I spent the week rehearsing, refining, preparing. Not my emotions. They were irrelevant now. No, I prepared my delivery, my timing, my reveal. Every line, every pause, every devastating truth. This wasn't just a dinner. It was a performance. And I wasn't just ready. I was built for it. For years, I had been the peacekeeper, the stabilizer, the quiet shadow no one credited or cared to understand. But peacekeepers know how to win wars. Stabilizers know where the weak points are. Quiet shadows see everything. That night, as I stood in front of the mirror, smoothing the fabric of the black silk dress I'd chosen, I studied the woman staring back at me. She looked calm. She looked dangerous. She looked reborn. "You were never the weak one," I whispered to her reflection. Then I grabbed my purse, the purse holding the reports that would burn their world down, and walked out the door. Tonight wasn't just a dinner. Tonight was the beginning of their end. The smell of disinfectant clung to the hospital walls like a ghost that refused to leave. Alex stood frozen at the doorway of room 214, staring at the empty bed where Jordan had been fighting for his life just hours earlier. No machines, no wires, no monitors, only silence, thick enough to crush air from the lungs. A nurse brushed past him. "Sir, you can't stay in the doorway." "What happened to him?" Alex's voice cracked. "Where is Jordan Carter? He was here last night." The nurse hesitated, eyes flicking down the hallway, before she leaned closer. "I shouldn't say this, but he wasn't transferred. He was taken." Alex felt every muscle in his body tighten. Taken? By who? She swallowed. 2 men in black suits, no IDs. They signed something, but it wasn't hospital paperwork. They looked federal. Federal. Alex's heart slammed against his ribs. This was bigger than a robbery, bigger than money, bigger than anything he prepared for. Did they say where? She shook her head quickly, fear pulling in her eyes. No, but they had a folder with your friend's name on it. A thick one. He stepped back, the hallway tilting under his feet. Jordan was alive, but in the hands of people who had the power to erase a patient without leaving a trace. Alex pressed his palms to his face, trying to think, trying to breathe. He called Maya. She answered on the first ring. "Alex, you sound shaken. What happened?" "They took him." "Took who?" "Jordan. He's not in his room. Some federal-looking guys came in the night and just took him." Silence. Long enough for make Alex think the call dropped. Then Maya whispered, "Alex, there's something you need to know. Something I've never told anyone." He straightened. "What are you talking about?" "Jordan wasn't just your friend. Not really. He was being watched for months. Because he wasn't just a college kid, he used to work for a private research program, a government-adjacent one. When he quit, he didn't leave quietly." Alex's breath faltered. "What kind of research?" Maya hesitated. "Human behavior prediction, algorithmic, emotional mapping, stuff that shouldn't exist yet." Alex ran a hand through his hair. "Are you saying he stole something?" "No," she said. "I'm saying he protected something. Something they want back. And now that he's weak, they must think it's their chance." He stared out the window, the city lights blurring like smudged tears. "Maya," he said slowly, "why are you telling me this now?" Her voice shook. "Because I'm scared, Alex. They won't stop with him. If they think you know anything, you're next." A chill ran down his spine. Behind him, the elevator dinged. Footsteps echoed. Heavy, synchronized. "Maya," Alex whispered, the hairs on his neck rising. "Someone's coming. Get out of there, right now." Alex turned, only to see 2 figures in dark suits walking straight towards him, and they knew his name. Alex's pulse hammered like a war drum as the 2 men in black suits closed in. Their footsteps were too controlled, too synchronized, the kind that belonged to people trained not just to walk, but to hunt. "Alex Morgan?" the taller one asked, voice smooth enough to hide the blade underneath. Alex didn't answer, didn't breathe, didn't blink. He did the only thing his instincts screamed at him to do. He ran. The hallway exploded into motion. Nurses jolted, a cart toppled, a metal tray clattered across the floor. Alex shoved off the wall and sprinted toward the emergency exit, heart pounding so loudly he almost couldn't hear the men shouting behind him. "Stop! Alex Morgan!" Not a chance. He burst through the stairwell door, the heavy metal slamming shut behind him. The echo shot down the stairwell like a gunshot. Alex vaulted down the steps 2 at a time, gripping the railing to swing himself around the corners. Footsteps followed. Disciplined, powerful, getting closer. Maya's voice rang in his head. "If they think you know anything, you're next." He shoved through the exit at the bottom, stumbling into the cold night air behind the hospital. The sky hung low and gray, street lights flickering like dying stars. His breath made ghosts in front of him as he sprinted toward the dark alley, lungs burning. Then, an SUV screeched around the corner, tires shrieking. Headlights pinned him like prey in a spotlight. "Alex, get in!" a voice shouted. He froze. The door of the SUV swung open. Behind the wheel? Maya. Her eyes were wide, frantic, Terrified, "Move!" she screamed. Alex didn't think. He dove inside and yanked the door shut. Maya slammed the gas pedal, and the SUV launched forward, throwing Alex against the seat. Behind them, the two men burst out of the hospital doors, one already speaking into a radio, the other raising a hand as if trying to memorize the license plate. Who were they? What did they want with Jordan? Maya's knuckles were white against the steering wheel. The same thing they've always wanted, the data he stole before he disappeared from the program. Alex blinked. Stole? You said he protected it. He protected it by stealing it, Maya said with a trembling voice. Jordan found something in the research, something that terrified him. He took a copy of the algorithm, wiped his tracks, and tried to start over. But they've been hunting him ever since. Streetlights blurred past as she pushed the speedometer higher. The city seemed to shrink behind them, swallowed by darkness. Why didn't Jordan tell me? Alex whispered. Maya swallowed, her voice barely steady. Because the algorithm wasn't just designed to predict behavior, Alex. It was designed to control it. Alex felt the words hit him like ice water. Control. Human behavior. Oh my God, he breathed. Maya nodded, ickling her eyes to the rearview mirror. And Jordan used you as his safeguard. If something happened to him, you were the one person he trusted to finish what he started. Alex stared at her, stunned. Finish what? Maya glanced at him, her expression sharpening with fear and purpose. To take down the people who built it. Maya slammed the brakes so hard, Alex felt the seatbelt slice into his ribs. The SUV jerked to a stop just inches from the man standing calmly in their headlights. He didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't move. He wore no suit, no badge, no mask of professionalism like the men in the hospital, just a dark coat, hood up, head tilted slightly down, as if he already knew how this moment would unfold. Maya, Alex whispered, who is that? Her chest rose and fell sharply. That's not one of theirs, which means the man lifted his head. A pale scar ran across his jaw, just visible under the hood. His eyes, though partly shadowed, carried something unsettlingly familiar, a mixture of calculation and something else Alex couldn't place. Recognition? Pity? Warning? Before Alex could ask anything, the man raised both hands, not in surrender, but in a gesture that said, "Don't run." Maya shook her head. "No, absolutely not. Alex, keep your hand on the door handle if he gets closer, but..." Alex wasn't listening. The man stepped forward into the beam of the headlights and spoke one sentence, a sentence that froze Alex's marrow. "You look just like him." Alex felt the world tilt. "Like who?" he demanded through the cracked window. The man approached slowly, palms still up, voice deep but controlled. "Jordan, your brother. I was with him the night he vanished." Maya swore under her breath. "Alex, don't. He could be lying. Everybody lies in this world." But the man didn't break eye contact. "I know what you saw at the hospital, and I know why they're after you now. But you're not safe with her." Maya hit the gas. The SUV lurched, and the man slammed a hand on the hood, eyes blazing. Jordan didn't trust anyone completely. Not even her. Cold crawled up Alex's spine. "Maya?" he breathed. She gripped the steering wheel, jaw clenched so tightly it trembled. "He's trying to split us up. Don't listen to him." But the man continued, voice cutting through the tension with surgical precision. "Ask her who deleted Jordan's last message to you." Alex's blood iced. He turned slowly toward Maya. Her face paled, not in guilt, but in an almost pained shock, like someone hit her without touching her. "Alex, please," she whispered. But the man outside wasn't done. "Ask her why the men at the hospital knew exactly where you were." Maya slammed her fist against the wheel. "Because he followed us, because he..." "Ask her," the man said again, quieter now. "Why did Jordan tell me that if anything ever happened to him, you were never supposed to trust Maya Clark?" Silence. It wasn't an ordinary silence. It was the kind that feels like a fuse being lit. Alex felt every emotion inside him collapse into a single brutal clarity. "Maya," he whispered, voice trembling, "what did you do?" Her eyes glistened, but her grip tightened. "Alex, I protected you since this started." The man outside lowered his hands and said softly, "No, she protected the algorithm." Alex's breath left him. Maya reached for him, not violently, but desperately. "Alex, listen." The man outside suddenly shouted, "Get out of the car!" And at the same time, from behind them, another black SUV came roaring around the corner at full speed, headlights exploding in the rearview mirror, engines screaming. No time left. "Alex!" both voices shouted at once. He had 1 second to choose. 1 second to decide who to trust. And then, impact. Alex shut the motel room door behind him and locked all 3 deadbolts. The room was dim, lit by a single flickering lamp and the soft blue glow of the cheap TV. Rain hammered the parking lot outside, drowning out every other sound. A perfect cover. Jack tossed his soaked jacket over a chair and motioned for Alex to sit. "Before we start," Jack said quietly, "you need to understand something. What I'm about to show you, it's the reason your brother disappeared." Alex swallowed hard. "My whole life, Jordan never kept secrets from me. If he hid something, it must have been bigger than betrayal, bigger than Maya, bigger than the men in the hospital." He reached into his bag and pulled out a small, battered flash drive. Black, unmarked, slightly bent like someone had stepped on it. Alex's breath hitched. Jordan used that brand. He kept backups on those. Jack nodded slowly. "He gave this to me the night he vanished. Told me I'd know when to pass it on." Alex's hands trembled. "So why now?" Jack's expression hardened. "Because you unlocked the part of the puzzle he never could." He slid the flash drive across the table. Alex stared at it like it might burn him. "What's on it?" Jack sat back. "Proof." Alex's heart thudded. Proof of what? Jack took a slow breath, choosing his words carefully. "Proof that Jordan didn't just uncover corruption. He uncovered a program." Alex frowned. "What program?" Jack leaned in. "Project Echo." The name alone made Alex shiver. What does that even mean? Jack opened his laptop and plugged in the drive. The screen blinked, stuttered, then loaded a single folder. Inside it were 3 files: ECHO protocol _1.pdf, ECHO protocol _2.pdf, ALEX _final.mp4. Alex froze. What's that last one?" Jack didn't answer. He clicked it. The video opened to static. Then a face came onto the screen. Jordan. Alive. Breathing. Looking straight into the camera with eyes that had always been warm, but were now sharp, haunted, frantic. "Alex?" Jordan said. His voice was low, rushed. "If you're seeing this, they got to me." Alex's throat closed. He leaned forward, gripping the edge of the table. "I don't have time," Jordan continued. "I found something in the company's archives, records they tried to erase, financial logs, medical files, and predictive modeling data." Jack paused the video. "Pay attention to that last part." Alex nodded, shakily. "Predictive modeling? Like forecasting?" Jack shook his head. "Not forecasting people," he said. "Replacing them." Alex stared, confused. "That doesn't make sense. Replace who?" Jack resumed the video. Jordan's face looked more desperate now. "Alex, they're building digital profiles, complete replicas. Your choices, your patterns, your reactions, everything. They call them echoes. Every high-value employee has one. It learns you. It predicts you. Eventually, it replaces you. Alex's vision tunneled. Replaces you. Jordan swallowed hard in the video. They started with me. I found my echo in the database. It knew everything about me, even things I never said out loud. He leaned closer to the camera. And they have one for you. Alex flinched. No, that's impossible. Jack stopped the video again. It's not impossible. It's what Mark never told Maya. It's what the hospital wanted you for. Your echo is more advanced than Jordan's ever was. Alex felt his stomach collapse. But why me? Jack looked at him with something like pity. Because you're the first one whose echo made decisions you didn't. Alex's breath broke. What does that mean? Jack clicked the next file. It displayed a single line of text. ALEX_Wallace dash ECHO_version:active. A chill clawed up Alex's spine. Active. Not archived, not deleted. Active. He whispered, barely audible. Jack, where is my echo now? Jack closed the laptop, and his answer was the last thing Alex expected. It's not a where, Alex. He paused. It's a who.
Alex felt the room shrink around him. The echo is a who? He repeated, voice cracking at the edges. Jack didn't look away. Sit down, Alex. No, Alex snapped, pacing, palms buried in his hair. That doesn't make sense. Echoes are digital, software, data, not alive, Jack finished calmly. Not physical? Alex stopped pacing. Jack leaned forward. Project Echo isn't just code. It's code connected to a living proxy. Alex stared. A proxy? Like an agent? Jack shook his head. Like a person who's been shaped, trained to think like you before you even think it. Someone patterned on your decisions, your routines, your impulses. That's insane, Alex whispered. But he already knew Jack wasn't lying. Because something deep in his gut, that icy, crawling intuition, was starting to click into place. Jack continued. They didn't just want your data, Alex. They wanted a candidate whose psychology could be mirrored perfectly. Someone whose habits were predictable in a way that made replication easy. And that's me, Alex said hollowly. Jack nodded. Your brother found your echo before they wiped the records. He saw the profile, the name, the assignment. Alex swallowed. What assignment? They took him because he talked to the one person he wasn't supposed to talk to. Alex's voice trembled. Who? Jack didn't blink. He didn't soften the blow. Your echo. Alex stumbled back like he'd been struck. Jack rose from his chair. You want to stop running, Alex? You want the truth? Alex's chest heaved. Then you need to see him for yourself, Jack said, grabbing his keys. Tonight. See who? Alex whispered, though he already knew. Jack opened the door to the rain-soaked parking lot. Your echo, he said. The one living your life. Alex's heart pounded. And where is he? Jack's answer felt like a ghost walking across Alex's grave.
Rain hammered against the windshield as Jack's car sped down the freeway. Alex sat rigid in the passenger seat, gripping the door handles so tightly his knuckles turned white. His own apartment, his own life, being lived by someone else, someone who wasn't him, someone who thought like him, because they had been built from him. Jack glanced at him. You don't have to go inside, he said.
Just seeing him might be enough. Alex shook his head. I need to understand what he is, what they made. Jack nodded once. Then brace yourself. Nothing about this will feel right. They turned onto Alex's street, a quiet stretch of brick buildings, warm porch lights, familiar shadows. But tonight, it looked wrong. Like the memories in Alex's head had been repainted by someone who'd never actually lived them. Jack parked 2 buildings down. Look, he said, pointing through the rain-streaked windshield. Alex's breath caught. The lights in his apartment were on. A silhouette moved inside, pacing, calm, comfortable, living. Alex's voice was barely a whisper. That's my walk. Jack's jaw tightened. They studied you for years, Alex. Your posture, stride length, gait patterns. An echo doesn't imitate you, it anticipates you. Alex felt sick. Why my apartment? Why now? Jack exhaled slowly. Because Maya lost you, and echo protocols kick in when a primary subject is untracked. Alex stared. Meaning? Meaning, Jack said, your echo's mission is to stabilize your life, to keep everything functioning as if you never left. Alex's pulse thudded in his ears. Work? Bills? Communication? Relationships? Jack nodded at the window. All of it. Alex tore his gaze from the silhouette. Jack, could he hurt me? Jack didn't answer immediately. He watched the silhouette move toward the kitchen, rinse a glass, wipe the counter, tiny habits Alex had done 1,000 times. He won't want to, he said, finally. He thinks he's you, but the people who control him, they have their own rules. Lightning flashed across the sky, and for a brief second, Alex saw the echo's face in the window. His own face. Not similar, not close. Exact. But wrong in a way Alex felt deep in his bones, like every feature was shifted by a fraction. Subtle but disturbing, the way a dream version of yourself looks almost right, but not quite human enough. Alex sucked in a sharp breath. That's me. Jack touched his shoulder. That's who they want the world to believe you are. The echo moved away from the window, toward the front door. Alex froze. He's coming out. Jack grabbed Alex's arm. Don't move. Footsteps approached the door. A lock turned. The door swung open, and the echo stepped out onto the porch, hood over his head, scanning the street, looking for something, or someone. Alex ducked instinctively, heart pounding. Jack whispered, he can't know we're here. If an echo detects its primary, Alex swallowed hard. What happens? Jack's voice was deadly quiet. It corrects the anomaly. Alex felt the blood drain from his face. I'm the anomaly. The echo stepped off the porch, moving toward the sidewalk, toward the car. Jack cursed under his breath. He's tracking your last known routes. Get down, now. Alex slid low in his seat, trembling. The echo paused in the street, head turning, sensing, calculating. Alex hitched his breath. I think he knows, he whispered. Jack stared forward, unmoving. He doesn't know the car, Jack said softly, but he knows the pattern. The echo took another step forward. Lightning flashed again, and Alex saw his own eyes staring straight at him through the storm. Cold, precise, inhumanly calm. Jack grabbed the gear shift. Hold on. The echo's lips moved, barely audible through the rain, but Alex read them. Found you. Jack slammed the car into reverse. Tires screeched. The echo broke into a sprint. Alex's scream drowned under the roar of the engine as Jack floored it. They sped into the darkness while the echo chased them with terrifying, unnatural speed. And Alex realized one truth with absolute clarity. His echo wasn't just replacing him, it was hunting him.
Jack didn't stop driving until they were miles out of the city, the storm thinning into a cold mist. Alex pressed himself back into the seat, chest heaving, mind spinning. He had seen his own face,
sprinting toward him. Not angry, not emotional, just focused. Focused the way a predator focuses. Jack finally slowed the car near an abandoned industrial complex, a graveyard of rusted steel and broken windows. He killed the engine. Alex's voice cracked. He ran like that? Humans don't move like that. Jack didn't look at him. They're not supposed to. Alex wiped the sweat from his palms. Explain everything now. Jack turned toward him, eyes heavy with something that looked almost like guilt. Echoes aren't clones, Alex. They're augmentations, biological hosts enhanced with predictive AI. Alex stared. Biological hosts? You mean he's not a machine? No, Jack said. He's a person, but his thoughts aren't entirely his own. Alex felt a wave of nausea roll through him. So he's halfway me? Jack nodded. Half you, half programming. Alex closed his eyes, trying to steady his breath as Jack continued. Echoes don't just mimic behavior. They override survival instinct, fear, hesitation. They turn human limitations into templates. Alex opened his eyes. He chased us like it was nothing. Jack nodded slowly. You broke protocol when you ran. Echoes aren't trained for improvisation. They're trained for stability. When the primary subject deviates too far from expected behavior, the echo's mandate shifts. Alex swallowed hard. To what? Jack's voice dropped to a whisper. To correction. A cold shock ran down Alex's spine. Correction means killing me, Alex said, barely audible. Jack hesitated. And that was his answer. Alex's pulse surged. And Jordan, my brother, what happened when he deviated? Jack's jaw tightened. They intercepted him before he reached you. Alex's chest caved in. Jack kept going. Jordan wanted to expose the program. He tried to warn you directly, and that made him a threat to Echo integrity. Alex shook his head, tears burning behind his eyes. But why didn't he tell me sooner? Why didn't he trust me? Jack reached into the glove compartment and pulled out something small, a folded note. It wasn't that he didn't trust you. He handed it to Alex. He didn't want your Echo intercepting it. Alex unfolded the note with trembling hands. Inside was Jordan's handwriting, rushed, jagged, scared. Alex, if you're reading this, they already reached me. Don't go home. Don't trust your routines. And if you see yourself, run. The paper slipped from Alex's fingers. Jack rested a hand on his shoulder. You were never supposed to see him. Echoes destabilize when primary and proxy come into direct conflict. Alex stared at the crumbling factory outside. Then what happens now? Jack took a deep breath. Now, we break every rule they built you on. Alex clenched his jaw. And my Echo? Jack looked him dead in the eyes. He'll keep coming until one of you isn't standing anymore. Alex felt the truth settle in his bones like ice. And is there? Alex hesitated, voice shaking. Is there any way to stop him? Jack nodded once. There is. Alex waited. Jack's next words felt like a blade sliding into the silence. You have to understand something, Alex. Something your brother figured out too late. Alex braced himself. Your Echo isn't just trained to replace you. Jack leaned closer. He's trained to anticipate you. Alex's heartbeat faltered. So the only way to survive, Jack said, is to become someone your Echo wasn't designed to predict. Alex stared at him. You want me to stop being me? Jack put the car back in drive. No, he said. I want you to become something they never accounted for. He pressed the accelerator, and we start tonight. The factory swallowed them whole, metal skeletons rising into the fog, shadows stretching like long fingers across the floor. Jack's boots echoed against the concrete as he led Alex deeper inside. "This is where Jordan brought me," Jack said quietly. Before he disappeared, he said if anything happened to him, this is where his brother should come to understand who he really is. Alex followed, every nerve on fire. And what does that mean? Jack stopped beside an old server rack, wires spilling out like veins. He pulled a tarp back, revealing a plastic case. Inside, a sealed black device the size of a phone. "This," Jack said, "is the original data core for your Echo." Alex's breath hitched. "You can shut him down?" Jack shook his head. "No, but you can force him to lose pattern integrity." Alex frowned, meaning. Jack placed the core gently on the dusty table. "Your Echo predicts your decisions because he knows your routines, your thought patterns, your defaults. If you want to survive, you need to break all of them at once." Alex swallowed hard. "That's impossible." "No," Jack said. "It's evolution." The lights flickered. Jack suddenly tensed. Alex froze. "What?" Jack whispered. "He's here." A metallic thud echoed through the factory, slow, deliberate. Footsteps. Alex's pulse skyrocketed. "Jack!" "Stay behind me." Jack drew a small device from his jacket, a disruptor, humming softly. "If he gets close, this might buy us 5 seconds." 5 seconds? Alex whispered harshly. "That's all you'll get." The footsteps came closer, closer. Then a figure stepped into view. Alex's breath collapsed. It was him. His Echo. Same height, same build, same face. But those eyes? Cold, calculating, empty of fear. Those were not his. The Echo tilted his head, studying Alex with scientific precision. Primary subject detected. Correction required. Alex staggered back. "No, wait!" The Echo moved like a snapped cable, lunging forward in perfect silence. Jack fired the disruptor, a sharp electric crack splitting the air. The Echo seized, stumbling. "Go!" Jack shouted. Alex bolted between rusted beams as the Echo recovered, moving with terrifying speed, sprinting after him. Primary deviation unacceptable. The Echo called out, voice eerily calm. Alex ducked behind an overturned metal crate. His breath trembled. He had to think. But not like himself. Not the way his Echo would expect. Not the way Jordan warned him against. If the Echo predicted Alex's thoughts, then Alex had to think wrong. He stood. Not running, not hiding. Walking. Straight into the open. The Echo froze mid-step. Algorithms stalling. "Unexpected behavior," it said. Alex's voice was steady now. "You don't know me." The Echo tilted his head. "You cannot destabilize me." "Watch me." Alex sprinted toward the server racks, not away from danger, but toward it. His Echo hadn't predicted it because Alex never took risks like this. He grabbed the data core Jack had shown him and smashed it against the floor. The casing shattered. The Echo jerked violently, disoriented. Pattern breach, critical. Alex grabbed a pipe from the ground and swung with every ounce of adrenaline in his body. The metal slammed into the Echo's jaw. The Echo staggered. Then lunged. Alex fell backward, hitting the concrete, Echo hands closing around his throat. Fierce, mechanical, unstoppable. Black spots burst in Alex's vision. He clawed for the disruptor lying near Jack's dropped beer, fingers brushing it. Too far. Then a gunshot tore through the air. The Echo's body jolted. Jack. Bleeding, but standing, gun raised.
Get off him. The Echo collapsed beside Alex, twitching, its system spiraling in loops, searching for patterns that no longer existed. Alex coughed, staggering to his feet as Jack limped forward. "It won't stay down long," Jack warned. Alex nodded. He grabbed a rusted metal beam with both hands. And for the first time in his life, Alex didn't hesitate. He swung. The Echo's skull cracked against the concrete. A second hit. A third. Until the body went still, the last sparks of its predictive AI fading into silence. Alex dropped the beam, chest heaving. Jack steadied himself against a pillar. "It's over," Alex whispered. Jack shook his head. "No, it's beginning." Alex looked up, confused. Jack pointed to the shattered core. "You didn't just break your Echo." He paused. "You broke the system that needed you predictable." Alex swallowed. "So what am I now?" Jack gave him the closest thing to a smile Alex had seen since they met. Someone they'll never control again. Outside, dawn began cutting through the storm. A new light, a new version of himself, one Jordan had believed he could become. Alex stepped out of the factory, feeling the weight of the night fall away behind him. He wasn't an Echo. He wasn't a target. He wasn't a pattern. He was free. The first version of himself that wasn't written for him, but rewritten by him. And he walked into the rising sun knowing he was finally unpredictable enough to survive.